Hello, Abraham. I was wondering if you could tell us in even more detail how thought becomes form.
We want to start at a place that is easy for you to conceive. And when you're talking about things that are of a vibrational level, in other words, thought is not something that you can see, and that's why you're asking the question. I can't see it. At what point am I able to see it? And the reason that we talk so much about emotions is because when you're feeling it, it's easier for you to get a glimpse of it, so to speak. So let's talk about some various kinds of forms just for a little bit. Let's talk about, for example, the rendezvousing between two people. So, in other words, it's easier to get your thoughts around identifying a desire for a relationship and finding vibrational alignment with that thought and then rendezvousing with another. It's easier to understand that kind of a manifestation than it is a thought that eventually becomes a sphere moving through the atmosphere. And yet, all things evolve in that way. Now, we're going to step back just a little bit from your question and lay another basis of it, because this is essential before anything else will make sense either. And that is, everything that you see is an interpretation of vibration. So the things that you are calling form, the knock-on-wood substance, materials, stuff of your physical world, is your interpretation through your physical senses. You are vibrational interpreters. So now we will reform your question a little bit by saying, so at what point does something that is vibrational come into my awareness? Because if you were to ask us, technically, when your desires become form, we say instantaneously, because we perceive them fully in the moment that you give birth to them. But you are a little slower in catching up to that. And your catching up to it has to do with when you begin to believe it, or when you begin to expect it, or when you stop doing the opposite of that. So now the question, we like the way we have worded the question better. The question is, at what point do I no longer focus in a way that keeps me from seeing the form of something that it already exists in vibrational escrow? How about that?
I like
and
that.
Even further, how long does it take me to stop doing that thing? And we say, it takes you as long as it takes you to get over feeling natural about feeling bad. Did we twist it up too much for you, or did you get a satisfactory answer?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Want to take it further?
An example would help. If I want, say what I want is to see a whale. I want to see a whale breach outside in the ocean. What does non-physical do to arrange that to happen?
Right. Not very much, because we don't have to. But we'll give you the full picture of how that happens. So your desire to see the whale is here. And we would say that the desire to see the whale is not really even promoted by not seeing the whale. You just want to see a whale. But you look and you don't see a whale, so you really want to see a whale. And then you really want to see a whale, and that one saw a whale, and that one saw a whale, and that one saw a whale, but you haven't seen a whale, so you really want to see a whale. So over a very short period of time, you can get quite a bit of momentum going about that. So now, what we said to you is accurate. That desire is, in other words, the seeing of the whale doing whatever you would like to see it do already exists in vibrational escrow. We're not kidding you about it at all. And law of attraction is responding to that. Now, Now this creation has already happened, and the vibration of it is already powerful, and law of attraction is responding to the vibration of it. So now there are two components necessary, you and the whale. The whale got the word right away and is calculated the exact proximity from where it is to where this ship is. We're not kidding you.
Okay.
The whale is on its way to rendezvous with you. How are you doing? In other words, are you saying, no whale, no whale, no whale, which means he's breaching all over the place. Everybody on the ship's seen him but you.
That's
Doing
about where I
circles
am.
around the ship. Where if you understand, when you will come to the place through trial and error, so to speak, of recognizing that this is rendezvousing with what you want. And when you're rendezvousing with something as magnificent and as tuned in, tapped in, turned on as a whale, this is easy creation. We would imagine that you will see whales if it is your desire to see whales, because when you get this kind of consciousness focused upon such a thing, your ship has been spotted by the whales. In other words, the rendezvous will take place. Jerry laughs about it because he keeps having this uncanny ability to look out the window just as something jumps out of the water. And almost no one else sees it, but Jerry does. And the reason, it takes timing. In other words, they're not in the air that long. They spend much more time underwater than they do out of the water. And so, unless you're sitting there scouring the water, but even if you're sitting there scouring the water in the attitude, I will see you, 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 you can only look a small part of the water, where if you're letting yourself know that, in other words, this rendezvous is not just about being out there where you can see it. It's about the timing. It's about looking in the right place. It's about your eyes being there. Your eyes will literally be drawn to the spot that the whale is, you see. Okay. You'll get an impulse to go look, and that will be the whale saying, here I am, I'm getting ready for you. Are you queued up? I'm on the port side of the ship. I'm pretty far forward. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? As you're running down the corridor, running down the corridor, running down the corridor. You'll feel an impulse to rendezvous with such a thing, you see. Even things that are rare you can rendezvous with when you understand that there is no request that is ever denied. Everything that you want is there for you to rendezvous with. So back to your first question, how long before it takes form? As long as it takes you to get into that attitude of expectation. That's why we always encourage you to ask for things that you do not have strong patterns of resistance about. And that's a very good one, because you haven't practiced not seeing a whale very much.
That's right.
And so when you identify that you want something, that's a very good thing. And, oh, the cooperative universe. And we want to go further. We want you to understand that we could feel you all going along with our story of the cooperative whale. In other words, almost everyone in this room expects that they could rendezvous with a whale faster than they could rendezvous with a fortune. Or with perfect health. But we want you to know all of those things are as willing to rendezvous as the whale. But then you say, but the whale is sort of meeting me halfway. And we say, everything does. Everything is a rendezvous. Everything. Law of attraction. In other words, all of those things that are in vibrational escrow are being called to one another by law of attraction. And so the things that you want are well past a distance. It's not that things are meeting you halfway. More than 99% of every creation is in place for you. And so your emotional trek up your emotional scale is just the last piece that fits into it. That's why it is so exhilarating for us to observe you in your coming into alignment.
I see. I'm curious, does the whale get the same message that I do when it says, you know, the angels say, hey, whale, there's some food over here, and maybe you want to come over here and breach and show? Or does he get the same message that I do to go to the window and take a look? Is it work the same way?
You don't have to bribe the whale with food.
Okay.
You don't even have to bribe the whale with your happiness. Your request is enough for the universe and the whale who is so connected to the universe to comply. In other words, they're just joyful to be. It's one of the most wonderful things about the beasts of your planet. They hear the call of source and follow it so easily. And so when you hook your creation into something that has to do with one of those, and you manage your alignment, you always get the rendezvous you are looking for. Imagine the thrill of being a photographer or someone who was wanting to capture the beauty of something like that, you see.
That's awesome. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
indeed. Yes, indeed.